Pretty good.
Pretty good. Welcome back, everybody, to another Bros Park episode. We got episode 35 in the bank today. It is another BEA beautiful day
in the park.
And as always, I will be one of your hosts, Colin, and I am joined by...
Yours truly, Jeff. How's everybody doing?
How's everybody doing today? We had a fun discussion last time.
You know, we had an epiphany.
Yeah.
We had an epiphany.
And
we were so focused on solo leveling
that
we failed to see the brilliance of, you know, the other top contenders of the anime awards.
Yeah, specifically Frieren. And for those of you that don't understand sarcasm, figure it out. All right, we got Frieren. I voted for Frieren. You also voted for Frieren.
I voted for Apothecary Diaries as well.
Yeah. So are we can agree that Frieren got robbed.
Yeah.
I think
despite everything
that.
we've said, I'm pretty sure the Glazers overtook everything and Frieren got robbed for the anime awards.
Yeah, our last episode, we were trying so hard to justify it, and we just could not figure out how it beat. Honestly, more than just Frieren on that list of best anime nominees, but specifically Frieren.
Yeah. So just not gonna lie, in terms of all aspects, I think Frieren is just superior. Maybe not action.
Action would be the only place that I could see the solo leveling argument.
But at the same time, I do feel like the action in Frieren is just it's more pleasing to the eye.
Yeah. It's more visually stimulating to me.
Yeah, there's because what's it called? Soul leveling. There's a lot fast,
flashy moves.
But then in Frieren, you just see a giant beam and it just looks beautiful. Multiple beams. It's kind of strategic too.
I was just gonna say it's more strategic to me because when you get solo leveling, it is, as we talked about last time, just throw haymakers and hope for the best. And there's not that much strategy when it comes into play. He's just flying by the edge of his seat and just going. Where Frieren, it's so thought out, and the fight against the model Frieren with Fern, that was so thought out and trying to find the defense.
And the cool thing about the combat in Frieren is all the mages, they're always kind of straight face, because when they have to control their mana, they have to be at a certain level of mind and
concentration,
concentrate, right?
Yeah,
that's why everyone's blank face. And you know what I like about too in Frieren is that you don't only just see action scenes of magic, you actually see hand-to-hand combat with weapons, with Stark.
With Stark, yeah. And the dwarf.
Dude,
What's his name?
Dwarf Hyson.
Okay, Hyson, yeah.
And then Eisen.
EISAN.
Yeah, Eisen. And then there's Heiter, which is why
and Himmel.
Yeah, I don't know why their names are so similar.
Yeah.
But dude, the dragon scene when Stark versus, God damn,
I know you were hype on the dragon scene.
That shit is hype because it's just dude, they could have just CGI'd a dragon, but they drew that dragon, man.
Well, also even with Frieren and the fight with the was it Aura?
Oh yeah.
With the scales.
That wasn't even a fight.
That's my point, right? Even that felt like an action sequence, even though it realistically wasn't. She was kind of fighting the zombies a little bit.
Yeah.
But realistically, it was just a mental game, which to me is so much more interesting.
And also the way that it was presented and when they dropped the hat, bruh.
Yep.
I've been hiding this the whole time, man.
Zero fluctuations.
Anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
But
I think Frieren, on the topic of characters, because that was a big thing that also Sung Jinwoo won, was
best
main character. Yeah.
Bruh.
I will say personally, I don't think that Frieren is that much better of a main character than Sung Jinwoo. I also think that Frieren was fairly one-dimensional, a little flat in terms of dynamic change that happened to her.
I think I do agree with you in the beginning because that's her. as
Yeah.
an elf, she's like, I don't care about anything else because I'm
Yeah.
just gonna outlive everything.
Everything's changing,
But
but
then
I won't.
as the story progresses, we're starting to see more and more character development through her.
Yep.
As she realizes, like, oh shit, maybe I should have actually,
cared about these
these
and-
connections.
Yeah. I do think
So it's a slow burn.
It is slow, and she does have that kind of progression, accepting Fern in the first place and kind of all the new spells that she's been going after. And you kind of see why she's learning these new spells and taking that kind of peace of mind. And her favorite spell is the floral one to grow the field of flowers.
Yep.
I think that's all interesting. I still just think it's a little flat. There's if, for example, it's a slow burn and she changes 10% and it takes 10 episodes to get 10%, that's still less than, for example, like Okarun from Dan to Dan.
That's true.
Okarun's change is like fucking like.
But keep in mind, her character itself is an elf, so
yes,
it's so hard for her to change.
It's meant to be one dimensional, and I'm not saying that it's not doing what it's supposed to. I was just saying for as a main character.
True. What are your thoughts on like the other characters, side characters?
So I really like Himmel as a side protagonist almost, because he was, I guess, originally when fighting the Demon Lord, he was he's the hero.
Guy.
He's the hero, right? What would Himmel do? And I think that permeates all the way through it. I mean, we talked about the guy who saved the one on the train in real life.
In Japan,
where it's like, I just thought, what would Himmel do?
Yeah, exactly. He stopped to stab her.
And that's awesome. I think Stark and Fern are a great portrayal of like young mentality around it, because neither one of them really had an experience with, one, people of the opposite gender, and two, other people their age, seemingly, because Stark was being...
Yeah, they kind of both grew up like isolated.
Yeah, with Stark was with Isel.
Eisen. I just think of Eisen.
Yeah, that's what I was like, it's not Eisen. Yeah. Eisen, and then Fern was with the priest. I forget his name.
Hightar.
And they didn't have anyone their age.
Yeah.
So obviously they're both a bit naive, and they're just, I think Stark was in the village as well. So he has a bit more experience with it. Fern had a little bit when they were younger, but they're being taught by these basically heroes that aren't their age. They're just being imparted on wisdom. So it's nice to see like the dynamic that they have and the going back and forth, and their kind of romance flourishing a little bit. And
yeah.
It's very interesting in that way.
I do find that like every character is so like unique and diverse, and also like they also have a lot of depth.
Yep.
Like maybe not the villains, because usually the villains
you
are
don't
like
see them for that long.
The villain, they kind of just offed, but then they're also demons too. So like it's kind of hard, because in this world, demons are just actually just evil.
Yeah. And I think in the comparison to solo leveling is so much, this is what's happening right now, where Frieren is so much, this is what's happening right now because of all this stuff that happened before. Like when fighting the original demon that made Zoltrak, or the original offense magic. That's just now normal magic for mages. That's just basic magic.
Yeah, but that was so cool. Like that, I think that demon was probably like one of the best villains.
100%.
Because like he's the one who created Zoltrak, the disintegrating magic.
Yeah.
That's now ordinary offensive, because they sealed him away like 50 years later or 80 years later.
80 years later.
They just dissected it.
And then defense magic is meant to just counter that. Like that's
counter
all it is.
And then once he saw that for the first time, he's like, oh, that's basically how it works. Yeah. But I bet it consumes a lot of mana.
Yeah. And I bet I can do it better than you. And
that's crazy.
We get that. And that's such a good plot point in story development because of what we just learned from the past 80 years.
Yeah.
And that is something that I think solo leveling's missing.
Yeah.
Like that never comes into play, where Frieren is just like, that happens every episode.
It's because there's so much world building.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of thought was put into like, the system, the characters, like how like the world operates too. And going back into it, like the characters, going back to Himmel.
Yep.
I think he's amazing side character, because like you actually see him for the first episode, and then he dies of old age in that first episode.
Yeah.
But
spoilers.
Then the only time you see him so far, what we've seen in the anime, is through flashbacks. And the crazy thing is, you get excited when you see Himmel,
Of course.
and because he steals the scene.
And the whole goal of it is for Frieren to go see him again.
Yeah.
So like it all comes back to Himmel. So I do think that as a driving force and as this whole story progression and characters go, like it's so good for Himmel to be there, and he plays such a pivotal role. Where again,
Yeah, and like the way that it was able to make you feel like, you know, you actually went on an adventure with Frieren, the original party.
yeah,
Eisen, Heiter, and Himmel. It just feels nostalgic every time there's a flashback.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I remember this, even though like it never happened.
Yeah.
Like, that we saw. This is crazy.
And that feels so good because I know a lot of unks out there, the older anime fans. They'll think back to when they were younger and they're like, I remember doing this or doing that. Or whatever.
And like they played a lot of MMORPGs
Yeah.
too.
So they were able to invoke that feeling in all of those people through just like very simple flashbacks.
Yeah, that's crazy how they were able to do that.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, I don't actually remember any action sequence happening in those flashbacks. Like they were just the party of them just hanging out in those flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so nice to have that feeling. And I will say as well that the soundtrack that goes along with it,
yeah,
I felt was very good.
Yeah, goddamn. Did Frieren win best soundtrack?
I don't think so.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think it did. Maybe it did. I don't know.
I love the like background music whenever it was chill, whenever there's an intense scene. I think the music just fit every single scene. Too.
Yeah. There was never a moment that I kind of thought to myself, wow, I don't think this song should be here.
Yeah,
like
I love the little flute music that plays whenever it's like, oh yeah, you know, 7 years after Himmel died.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like, you know, with the as time progresses, I'm like, oh shit, that thing slaps.
Yeah, it is nice to hear those little things, and it makes it so much more fantasy and wonder based.
And I also, you know, going back into it, it's like how you tell time has passed. Oh yeah, it's after Himmel died.
Yeah. he was the original Jesus. It was just
shit,
before
dude.
Christ and after Christ. Yeah. So yeah, I think the sound was really good. I mean, on that note around animation, I think the animation was top tier. It might not have been the flashiest and, oh my God, fast paced, crazy, whatever.
Yeah. It's one of those animes where like it just looks good.
Mm-hmm. There was never
like
a scene
overall.
that didn't look good.
Maybe if they were from afar, they kind of, you know, less detail. But like, what
but that's like background shit.
Yeah,
right?
what can
like,
you do?
Yeah.
But then like when there's action scenes, holy, they like
everything was super detailed.
Dude, they like flexed so hard.
There's no Sung Jin Woo butt crack.
Yeah, like when Fern was fighting the
vampires.
The demon with the count demon.
That's what I think of when I say vampires.
Yeah, he did look like
they're
a
the
vampire.
blood magic. Yeah.
That shit looked good.
Yep, 100%.
Mm-hmm. And when Stark fighting the dragon.
Yep. And even just the basic offense magic, the Zoltrax, I think it's called Zoltrax. It's just literal white with black border beam.
Yeah,
but it looks clean.
It looks clean. The sound
clean.
effect is like, whew, shit.
Yeah. And having all of those be so precise, and then the defense magic like popping up with like the hexagons and wherever it's coming from.
Yeah, and it's like a small little patch of defense.
Yeah.
That. Oh God. Ooh.
Yeah. Super cool.
Yacht. And then there's that armpit girl too. Anyways.
The fuck do you mean the armpit
you know the girl
girl
with the green hair that's like, you know, kind of like
the crazy one. The murderer. She definitely murdered people, right?
Yeah.
I'm not wrong. She murdered the bandits, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, her with the fucking pole arm. You weirdo. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well,
anyways.
I will say, I know I keep going back to characters. I do feel like Fern as a character, I liked her in the very beginning when she was a kid because like she had so much determination.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to like, you know, become a proper mage. So Heiter doesn't have to worry about her before he passes away. Mm-hmm. But like now that like she's older, you don't really see much character development or growth from her aside from her relationship from Stark.
I was gonna say it's just that,
but that's just external. Yeah, she's kind of like one note now. But
she is, yeah.
I do feel like that's also because like, you know, she used up all her ambition and passion to become a proper mage. Now that she is one, where does she go from now, right?
Yeah, I think that will maybe be a season 2 situation where
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that, right?
yeah, they pass the mage exam, the first class, is that what it's called? First
Yeah,
class mage
they're
exam.
first class mages.
And well, Frieren's not, right? And
Nah.
that's the
Yeah, she
whole
sucks.
point of it, that even in that she's flat, she's one dimensional. But the line of it's like now it's the age of humans. Crazy, sick, amazing.
Yeah, even though we say that like she's one dimensional, she can actually like she's the one that can kill Frieren, which is like the greatest mage of all time.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Fern hopefully will have a bit more development in season 2 now that she is a first class mage. I do want to bring up the mage exam, the kind of 3-step process. There was the 2-step, and then it's just I forget what her name is, the elf. Original mage.
Sayre or something. I think
The original mage that passes or
the orange hair.
Yeah. For her being the 3rd step, and then the other 2 steps being the labyrinth as the second one, and the forest with the bird,
the Steelies. Steelies or something
as the first one.
Yeah.
I really like how they went about the first one. That was very interesting. I think there was a lot of development towards the other side characters on that note, the other people in the mage class.
You get introduced to a whole bunch of mages, but then the ones that like matter stick out to you the most too.
Yes. And I will say that I think the labyrinth fell flat for me, except for the last fight with the Frieren golem.
How did it fall flat for you?
I just don't think that there was the same level of intricacy that came about from the first trial. I think the first trial had very interesting and complex ways of trying to catch the bird, and Frieren, taking the shield down and all of that happening concurrently, where in the second trial, I don't honestly think too much happened until the final fight with Frieren's golem.
I think it's also because like it makes sense from a character point of view. They didn't trust each other. So they're like, you know what? We're going to go off in our own squad of 3s. Yeah. Screw everybody else. We're going to do our own thing.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense in a way.
Of course, yeah.
But then like when they actually all started working together, like, they like countered each other through their clones.
Yeah.
And then, the big bad fight.
The big bad Frieren.
God damn, dude.
And the idea that too many people are passing this trial because Frieren is just hand-holding, walking them through is funny, because that's why she had to step in. Not Frieren, but the original mage had to step in the final trial, which to me makes me think that you could have just said that shit and fucking failed them from the first trial. You didn't need to put them in the life or death situation of the first and second trial.
Well, I also think it's because like I'm trying to remember back when they realized that Frieren was in the test.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess you're right there. Yeah.
Yeah, they could have just had that for the beginning.
They could have just had like not the second trial at that point.
100%. But they still went away with it, and it was the trial supervisor. That's the only other golem that was interesting. The one with the hair. Yeah. That was the only other interesting golem in the trial, and it still also just kind of fell flat in comparison to the Frieren one, which makes sense given who Frieren is.
Yeah, no, but it was cool that like, the hair clone, she got taken down by the crazy chick.
Yeah, but that's just because you love the crazy chick and call her the armpit girl, you fucking weirdo.
I'm not weird.
You are fucking
You're
gross
weird.
and
You're
weird.
weird.
You anime weeb.
You're weird.
But I think I'm interested to see, because they needed the first class trial to be passed to move forward into what the north, I think.
You need to be first class license or like be accompanied by a first class mage to move to the northern lands, which to be honest they probably didn't even need.
No, but she also had the emblem, right?
Yeah, but that thing didn't matter because it was too old.
No,
but I don't understand how like why can't we just fly over these walls?
Yeah, there is that.
There's no need for us to take this exam. We could just do our own thing.
You can also just like go around, I'm sure, like over the water.
Yeah, and
There's so many choices.
you're
that
with
they could've
goddamn
done.
Frieren.
Yeah, like what are they gonna do? Stop her? That being said, I know Frieren just was like, "Oh, it's fine. We can take another 2 years."
Yeah,
or whatever.
like,
And Fern's like, "No, what the fuck are you talking about?" So, is Ison still alive?
The
He
dwarf,
is, right?
the
Yeah.
dwarf. Yeah,
He never passed away from what we saw. Because I know he was getting old, quote
yeah.
unquote.
Himmel and Heiter are humans, so
They passed away.
But Ison's a dwarf, so he lives a little bit longer, but definitely not as long as Frieren.
Yeah, I was just wondering because I remember there was all the things of him getting old and he is getting older, but I don't remember us seeing him pass away.
No, not yet. No,
Okay,
but
not
even
yet.
though he's
Okay.
old, like dude, like just
Oh,
launched
he still
himself from a
bangs.
cliff.
He still bangs.
He's running on water.
Yeah.
I can't wait till hopefully they have this. I'm sure they will. Like when Stark reunites with his mentor.
Hopefully, unless
Ison,
you
yeah.
know, it's the whole journey took too long and he passed away.
Yeah.
Trope.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It would be good. But again, when we're talking about this and we're talking about it with reference to the best anime awards, it has to be in comparison to the other things. It's not standalone.
I'm just saying, like the thing is that we could talk about this like all day. The characters, the story, the action, the animation about Frieren.
Yep.
But then we can't talk about this all day about soul leveling.
100%.
Because Frieren is just so rich and everything. Soul leveling is kind of, fight.
The only reason
Fight. Ooh, that looks great.
we could talk so long about soul leveling is because we were trying to rack our brains in the justification department of how it could get there. But with Frieren, we can just riff and talk about this all the time because there's no shortage of things to discuss.
Yeah.
And for soul leveling, if we're just riffing and talking, it's just like, hey, this fight was cool. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, that fight was cool. Yeah, that was cool. I don't think that anybody actually even knows what happens in soul leveling except for the fights.
That's true.
Where Frieren, we have what would Himmel do? We know the favorite spell being the flowers. We know what the exact trials were. We know what Fern was saying when they stopped in the shipping town. They just cleaned up the beach for like an episode.
Yeah, and that was like they spent like months doing that.
Yeah,
too.
they spent months there. Like, okay, sure, here we go.
Yeah.
Or like Stark having to get the jewelry for fucking Fern and shit. Like,
oof, true.
Yeah,
true.
There's just so much more to it.
Did you ever watch the opening and endings for the show?
Once, I don't remember.
Oh,
I
man.
always watch OPs and endings once.
I felt like the opening songs were great. Because I think Yoasobi did the first opening.
I think so.
Yeah, dude. They're so good. Second one I really love too, and the endings too are so good. Oh god, dude, it makes me want to rewatch it again.
And it was nice because it was a full 24
episodes.
24 episodes, 23, 24.
Yo, I love it. I love it when seasons have like 2 cores in them.
Yeah, the two arcs are nice.
Oh man, dude, I hate animes with just 12 episodes.
I'm okay with 12 episodes a season if it's on the same schedule as a 24 episode season with 2 arcs. Like, give me 2 seasons back to back and just call them seasons. Sure, I don't give a shit. But like, make sure that they run into each other.
Yeah. Especially when it's like a good anime too.
Yeah. I just don't want 12 episodes and then waiting 8 months for another 12 episodes.
Yeah. Oh.
It's like, oh, fuck, man.
Yeah, I really hope, because season 2 is like obvious is going to happen because Frieren's such a hit.
Yeah.
I hope they have also 24 episodes in season 2
Well,
or
they
36.
will.
36.
They won't do us dirty. Dude, like
it's
that.
a cash cow.
Yeah.
But you can definitely see like the amount of attention and like love the show gets through the animators.
Which is why it was such a rob that fucking Solo Leveling took it. Like, I think Frieren came out 2024. What fall? Spring, summer 2024.
Something like that, yeah.
Until Solo Leveling came out, and even when Solo Leveling came out, every conversation I had was Frieren's winning best.
Yeah, Frieren. Yeah.
Every conversation. And I just don't know how Frieren won for like 2 categories out of all the ones that we looked at.
True. And
that seems like such a shame.
Yeah, it's weird how it didn't get the popular vote, and it's weird how we kind of touched on this, how the weighting is for like 30% popularity through the voters like us,
the fan votes,
and like 70% is like the board of
the judges,
who determine it.
Yeah.
What are they, like 12 or something?
I don't know. I don't know if they were, paid off by solo leveling, or I don't know. Maybe they voted some of them Frieren.
I guess maybe like it also depends on age too.
Yeah, true.
Because like we're kind of older. Man, I appreciate Frieren so much.
Yeah, that's true.
And I guess if I was younger, I'd be like, hey, solo living's the shit, man.
Yeah, maybe the nostalgia doesn't hit the same when you're not an unk.
Yeah, if you don't have unk status.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Frieren got robbed. I also think it should be nominated for more. That being said, what was it that we were pissed off about? It won best drama or something.
Yeah.
Right. And we were like, what the why is it a drama?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, what is the definition of drama? I thought drama was like, sad, crying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I
guess it is sad and crying. There is some points.
I would say it's more fantasy or adventure.
I know, but there's no adventure category, right?
Yeah. Because
then, I mean, it's definitely not an isekai. It's definitely not a comedy. It's definitely not a romance.
Speaking of which, like, where Frieren takes place in like the story itself, it's been done before. Like maybe not the exact story, but like the genre. It's been done so many times. It's old, but at the same time, it like breathes like a fresh breath of air. Yeah, like revitalizes the whole genre.
It's as we say quite a bit, which is just it's a variation on a theme. Everything's been done, kind of.
Yeah.
Solo leveling's been done.
There's just a spin.
Exactly. Shonen has a formula that you do shonen and you do it well. Chances are it's going to be a hit because people love that formula. You just need that little bit of a tweak to make it different than what's already out there.
Yes.
But the thing is that Frieren did that little bit of a tweak, but it felt like it flipped everything on its head.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like it flipped 180 for the genre, and it just made it so much more than we've had in that genre for years. And
also, the title is just Frieren instead of this like I've reincarnated as like a spider or like as a fridge.
That time I was reincarnated as a slime. Yeah. I parry everything.
Yeah. I like that. I like, titles are just like clean, crisp. One word.
What?
Monster.
Frieren
Berserk.
Beyond Journey's End.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Journey Beyond.
Beyond Journey's End.
Beyond Journey's End, yeah. So
New Game Plus.
I gotta go rewatch Frieren now.
Yeah, it's good, man. I'm once season 2 gets released, I'm gonna rewatch season 1 and
to
then
catch,
just to get like remember everything because
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I will say that both solo leveling and Frieren didn't really do this, which is an interesting thing. There's almost no Gunner shit in either one of those. You're trying to like think back.
I'm trying to think back. Did solo leveling have any Gunner stuff?
I mean, Cha Hunter swimming or like being in bed.
Yeah.
For like one scene each, maybe. And Frieren would be just Frieren stuck face down in the treasure chest.
Yeah.
In the mimic chest.
Yeah. There was actually like no Gunner.
There's like no Gunner shit. And you know what? Fucking props to them.
Yeah,
props to them that those two didn't do Gunner shit and they are at the top of the game. I'm happy for that.
There's no beach episode, no onsen, no Japanese festival.
No, it's not Fire Force. It's not fucking Konosuba Gunner shit.
Yeah. You know what?
But that's a satire.
Fair play, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. It's good. I like it.
The hand holding.
Yeah.
Once it happens with Stark and Frieren, that'll be my Gunner
That's
shit.
your Gunner shit?
That's my Gunner shit. Freaking Himmel. Doing a fake proposal to Frieren. That's my Gunner shit.
Yeah. When they finally hug in the fucking Valley of the Beyond or
whatever
it's called.
My goat Himmel.
That's them, dude. Yeah. That's it. But anyways, this, as you can tell,
fucking love Frieren, man.
We love Frieren. Frieren was our definite choice. I know you were saying also Apothecary Diaries, which we've talked about already, and we are still currently watching season 2. But Frieren Beyond Journey's End, man, it was so good. And if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. We both think it was robbed, and from what I've seen online, most people do. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
it seems like nobody picked Solo Leveling. I haven't seen a single person say they voted Solo Leveling for best anime.
Yeah. It's
So I don't know.
I wonder if like the anime was they picked Soul Leveling because they knew there would be controversy and people would talk about it.
Oh, so it drums up the views.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing it.
That'd be smart. That'd be smart.
I guess so, but I don't know. Let us know.
Watch Frieren. You can watch Soul Leveling. Soul Leveling is pretty good too.
It is good if you like hype. But let us know down below if you voted for Solo Leveling. Please let us know because we haven't found a single person that did. And let us know if you think Frieren should have taken it over Solo Leveling.
True. Yeah.
And until next time, we will catch you on the next episode of Bros Park. Peace.